wildflower. You won't be down below. Resilient, you're brilliant, you're strong. Show me how, when I'm down, I can get back up again, and again, and again. Stronger than you know. You're brilliant, you're brilliant. When you let your color show, you're a wildflower. You won't be down below. Resilient, you're brilliant. You're stronger than you know. Resilient, stronger than you know. When you let your color show, you're wildflower. You won't be down below. You're brilliant, you're strong. You're a wildflower in a field of gray concrete. Got my hot cappuccino. Don't forget the whipped cream. Cute guy at the counter winked at me.
Welcome to the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are a vibrant, inclusive, and spiritual community that seeks to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and see God in all people and in all faiths. We believe the work we do in prayer and in the community creates a world that works for all cultures, races, orientations, and faiths. For over 60 years, we have practiced thinking globally and acting locally to help awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Annually, hundreds of people actively participate in our services, classes, events, and in our Spanish-speaking ministry. And we are training the next generation of spiritual leadership in our ministerial school. In the last few years, because of apparent divisions politically and socially, and because of threats to basic human rights, we have magnified our application of Science of Mind principles with engagement and compassion in action in the greater Napa Valley community. Our members have participated in women's marches, pride events, and we have hosted speakers on racial issues. We have empowered and mentored diverse leaders in our community and given scholarships to diverse ministerial students. We have donated over 4,000 pounds of food to our local food bank. Our spiritual director, Reverend Jay Lang, has facilitated an interfaith leadership group to hold public prayer vigils and 9/11 commemorations in participation with Jews, Muslims, and Christians. We have fostered the creation of a beloved community in the larger Napa Valley area by honoring community heroes at events and tithing to and partnering with a dozen different nonprofits that share our vision. Together, we've created a Martin Luther King Day of Service where over 1,200 participated in community service annually. The leadership of our parent organization, the Centers for Spiritual Living, headquartered in Golden, Colorado, recognized our community for all of the outstanding, compassionate work we've been doing over the last few years with the 2022 Meritorious Community Award. As we move forward to do this work of the heart, to awaken the world to its spiritual magnificence, will you join us as we continue to ascend to new heights and create a world that works for everyone?
Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful day here at the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Jay Lang, and such a great honor to be here with everybody today and everybody online as well. It's a beautiful day. We know that, I think the picture behind me is fitting. You know, it has the water running and the trees here, because that's what Napa Valley is, a very verdant, abundant valley full of green and prosperity. So we affirm that today as we begin our service. And we have a really fun singer today. She's new to our community. Please welcome Patricia Bahia.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I used to live in Northern California. I live in LA now, and it's such a treat to be here with all the green and even in the rain. I'm all good about it. So I'd love for you to join me on this first song. It's called This Is My Tribe. And I wrote this with the great Harold Payne. Any of you know him? He's a wonderful, positive music artist. And it's designed to be sung along. I'm going to do a verse, and then I think we have the lyrics. Yeah. Okay, that's where you're going to be. And then we're going to do a chant too. So we're all, oh wait. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, singing the second verse first. Hold on. One verse at a time. Can't remember it. How bizarre. Here in this moment, it's meant to be. In this moment, this point of destiny, we got each other's backs, walk in each other's shoes. These are my people, my brothers, my sisters, the family I choose. This is my tribe. This is my tribe. This is where I thrive, where I come alive. This is my tribe. I'm going to spell it out. T-R-I-B-E, my T-R-I-B-E, my T-R-I-B. This is my tribe. We're all on a journey. It feels like home. And wherever we go, we know we're not alone. We share our burdens. We lift each other up. There for each other, come hell or high water, no matter what. This is my tribe. This is my tribe. This is where I thrive, where I come alive. This is my tribe. Spell it out, yeah. T-R-I-B-E, my T-R-I-B-E, my T-R-I-B-E, my tribe. Keep spelling. Yeah. Tribe. This is my tribe. In the lows and the highs, you're right by my side, you're my tribe. Oh, yeah. T-R-I-B-E, my T-R-I-B-E, my T-R-I-B. This is my tribe. Thank you for having me as part of your tribe. I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, that's so fun. A couple things. One is what a spiritual affirmation for this community. I don't know about you, but it's kind of going to be what do they call it, an earworm for the rest of the day. And I also know that you do a lot of work with advertising and shows on TV in the LA area. So I can see why you do that, because these songs stick in your brain. So well done. Good having you here this morning. We'd like to begin our service with our vision and mission statement. So if you'll look up on the screen or at home and read with me. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A great affirmation for today. And I know that you probably saw some progress or growth in progress out in our courtyard. And I'll explain more about that later. But it's a beautiful day, and we know that things are continuing to evolve here at the Center for Spiritual Living. I would like to there should be a slide before that. I guess they're out of order. This is the one I wanted. So we're continuing to honor Women's History Month. And I don't know about you, but I watched the Oscars on last Sunday night, and I was impressed by a greater role that women have in films right now. Both more than, they're always been known as the supporting role, who support people, advocate for people, which is a great role, but these are now leading roles that women are taking on. I mean, literally, they are warriors in movies. And in the winning movie, the Everything Everywhere All at Once, the actress there was the lead role, and she carried the whole movie. And it was just an affirmation for the role that women have. We've always known that women, I like the shepherd in the Old Testament, have both been the staff and the rod, meaning they're the staff where they comfort people and nurture people and make sure nobody's left alone, no one's left stranded. But they're also the rod to make sure we get out and do the things we're supposed to be doing. But also what's happening is it's not just about other people. These women are stepping into these roles of their being there to be who they are meant to be. And it's good to have those models in there and see the empowerment that these women are displaying in film and stage. So let's honor women by giving a round of applause. We're continuing our Spiritual Magnificence, the reawakening of our spiritual magnificence. And I encourage you to be a part of that, either on Facebook or if you picked up one of those sheets, to continue to be a part of it. If you miss a day, that's fine. Just catch up on the day that it is. In the week it is, for example, today was Let Go of Fixing. And we're all created in the image and likeness of God, yet each of us is a unique creation, different from all others, and spiritually correct and perfectly created. And so each day there's a little bit of information and then a practice, and the practice was a meditation today. So I encourage you to continue to dive into that practice, because it really is about awakening your spiritual magnificence. This afternoon at 2:00, if I can catch up on the slides here, we have a wonderful concert in store for you today at 2:00. So please come back. Patricia and also Astra Fox, who you've heard a number of times here, and a new singer, Austin. I couldn't find. Willisey is here, and they're all singer-songwriters, and they're all going to take turns up here on stage singing their songs, and I think it'll be wonderful. So come back at 2 and be ready for a wonderful experience. $20 suggested donation, but please don't let money get in the way of being here. We want everybody. We want to fill up the house. We have about 30 people already signed up, so let's fill up the house and let's support our Napa Valley musicians and the music program here. Thank you. And then Sip and Savor. Obviously, I've been talking about this a lot, but the excitement is that we now have the winners of our Compassionate Heart Award. So I wanted to announce who those were. Our first one is Carol Poole, who's with the Wildlife Rescue. And she's part of an organization called the Napa Wildlife Rescue. And they have rescued approximately 1,500 orphaned, sick, or injured animals each year, including birds, possums, raccoons, foxes, deer, and more. She's a retired city planner, but now contributes most of her time to volunteering and specializes in raptors. So this is her ambassador, if you want to call him, called Maddie. And Maddie goes around to different presentations, and you can imagine how captivating seeing that presentation is. So when we present the award to her on May 6th, hopefully she'll bring Maddie with her so you can get to meet Maddie, right? That's who we really want to meet, right? No, I know some people have already met Maddie, a very endearing raptor that we have a bird there. The second winner, who most of you know, is Marty Shoulders. Marty Shoulders, you know him as a kind and compassionate person here in our own community, but he devoted most of his career to Aldea. He's been there since the inception, believe it or not, for over 50 years. And Aldea provides mental health support for youth and families who are in crisis, ongoing support, social services, and mostly who are in the lower socioeconomic groups. They really reach out and provide services that are people who are marginalized and wouldn't normally get those kind of service. And his staff says that he was a tireless, eternal advocate and has invested in the Napa Valley community and the wellness of countless individuals. His empathetic nature has lifted up our staff and inspired us to do this kind of work with these people that are so important to work with. Another staff person said he's the most empathetic person I've ever met. So kind, patient, understanding, one of a kind. So we'll get to honor Marty as well. That'll be fun. And our final winner is Hope Lugo. Now, if you don't know this person, she's a name here in this valley. She's actually in her 90s now. And so we just wanted to award her while we could, right? And not that she's going to die, but she might not be as mobile, so she's able to do it. In fact, when offered the award, she goes, "Is it this month?" And we go, no, not till May. She goes, "Oh, good, because it's too wet and cold. I wouldn't take the award otherwise." So that's kind of where she is in her life now. But she's always been an advocate for family and children, low-income Napa residents, and particularly the farm worker community. So she became a board member 30 years ago of the Napa County Council of Economic Opportunity, became their executive director, and with her parents, worked side by side with Cesar Chavez and Delora Herta and the United Farm Workers to gain better pay and working conditions for our farm workers. She has improved the lives of low-income people in healthcare, education, housing. She was big in OLEA, getting that set up, which is a low-cost medical for our low-cost families here in Napa. It's almost like our own little socialism going here in Napa Valley, and she's a big part of it. Her vision, persuasion, partnership, and persistence has brought many changes in the valley. And she is in her 90s, still passionate, but she's marching much less. So that's Hope Lugo. So I'm excited about that. Those three people, and we'll be honoring them on May 6th as part of our Sip and Savor event. Now, we are still accepting donation auction items. This is what's left to do, really, is to start pulling together auction items. And these kind of donations can come from you personally or from business or restaurant or winery connections you may have. So we're looking for gift cards to restaurants or services, fine art, different kinds of services. Some people are creating baskets of maybe a basket of picnic things or a basket of spa products or different kinds like that. Also, if you have a vacation rental that you would donate for a week or some sort of experience, we've had lobster feeds. Astra donated a concert that we had at our house. It was wonderful. So a lot of different things. Like I said, it can be personal or somebody you know that might be able to donate something. So we'd really appreciate your effort in that. We'll having the courtyard full of different auction items, have a live auction, having wineries pouring wine. We'll have food. We'll have non-alcoholic drinks and some special art activities that you can be a part of too. So it's a fun event. We expect 150 to 200 people out there, but we do need to do something with that courtyard first, I think. And so here's the plan. There's a plan out there, but a better plan, you can kind of see it on here. So in the orangish area will be all concrete. It's going to be poured in the next few weeks. The green circles are where the current trees are. Even though they're not green yet, they will be. And that area will be filled in with pavers and to be solid surfaces where, but to leave gaps for rocks to allow permeability and breathability in our courtyard to allow the trees moisture to come through. The part of the project that we haven't been able to fund yet because we've had a lot of different ways to do things is a seat wall that we're talking about. And this is a similar kind of seat wall that is at the 9/11 Memorial that's up on Main Street. And so where we want that in the purple is the area where we would like a seat wall there. And right now we have enough money for just a concrete base, but we don't have enough money to we don't have enough money yet to create the rock face of it. So we're asking if anybody has a donation above your regular donations you have of, say, $500 to $1,000. Anybody that gives over $500 will put on a plaque that we'll put on the wall. And I think there's a certain pride that you could have in that of saying, I helped build this wall, and it'll be a really nice location around the back of the courtyard and the side of the courtyard just to sit on, like at 9/11 Memorial. So if you could see me or Mary Ward about that, if that, and online too, you can send in your donations. I really appreciate that. Also, this coming Tuesday, March 21st, we're having a special spring equinox celebration in here. We're going to move all the chairs aside. We're going to have a miniature spiral inside and just a meditation about the coming spring. And what we ask you to do, the only thing you need to bring is some flowers, and they can be cut flowers, planted flowers, whatever. We're going to have an altar in the middle. We're just going to have some fun with that, but also a deep sacredness to what the spring equinox is. 7 o'clock on Tuesday, the 21st. And then Laura Keller, who you'll hear later is our practitioner today, so when she does our prayer and spiritual reflection, is starting a new study group on the Revolutionary Love Project. This is Valerie Carr's book that she wrote that I talked about last month. And I think it'll be really nice to take these ideas and put it into action of change, community action that we can do here in Napa Valley. So if you're interested in that, see Laura, or we'll have a sign-up sheet. We might not have it today, but in the future, we'll have a sign-up sheet that you can sign up for it. And I didn't ask, is it virtual or in person? In person. Important distinction, in person, because we want to get together and change the world, right? Or at least this community. Okay. And then also just upcoming April event in April 6th, we have a metaphysical communion. And whatever you think about communion, just kind of wipe your slate clean of that, because this is about the original ideas of what communion was when Jesus had the Last Supper, and the meaning of bread, which is not about breaking anybody's body, I promise. It's about life that's opened up, and the wine that is representing of serving others. And that's was his intention. And that's what we want to come back to, that sacredness of how we can open up our lives in a greater way and how we can serve in a greater way and how we're called to do that. And that's what this communion is about. And then we'll have a labyrinth walk on April 7th. We have a cloth labyrinth that we put in here, and we'll open up that. And that'll be on Friday, April 7th. And then on, of course, April 9th, we have Easter. We don't know what condition the courtyard's going to be in yet. Hopefully it'll be finished by then, but that seems a short window. So we may be, but we know we can do an Easter egg hunt in the front yard of our building next door. And we can have different we'll find a place to have a kids program. Perhaps even we'll borrow that building, but we'll find something because it's Easter and we got to have some kids for Easter, right? So, but the theme of it is rising as one, evolutionary love. So that'll be beautiful. And Narion and Janet are here because with Easter comes trumpet, right? You got to have more trumpet and whatever else they bring all the time. So, and please know that we're here for you 7 days a week. I don't know about 24 hours, but our website is available 24 hours. And you can request prayers, and there's some recorded prayers on our website. But if you need any kind of support, please give us a call, leave a message, email, and we're glad to provide you resources, pray with you, visit you as needed, because we're here for you. And now we'll begin our meditative part of our service.
center down, enter in. The noise will fade away as you begin to listen to the quiet inside your soul. Every worry, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Breathe in, breathe out. Let peace be now. Embrace yourself for all you are, and listen to the voice inside your heart. Forget the past, what the future holds. Don't worry about what you don't know. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Breathe in. Repeat after me. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe out. Let peace, let peace be now. Breathe in, breathe out. Let love be now. Let it be now.
So if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. Just take a moment to be aware of your breath. Breathe in this gift of inspiration, of this gorgeous spirit and intelligence that is everywhere present, that loves you unconditionally. So on this beautiful day of sifting rain, we give thanks. We're so blessed for this rain. We're restored. We're plumped up again. And as we breathe, we exhale and we expire gifts also. We give things back to the trees, they use it. We're all connected in this beautiful, beautiful web of life. So just giving thanks for this day, for our time together in the sanctuary, for the love that we share, that the consciousness that we are. We just settle into this in a moment of silence. And just taking in all those gifts, that unconditional love of spirit, we just give thanks for our time together, knowing it is good. We let this be, and so it is.
Can you hear me? Okay, here we go. It's very personal, so I hope it resonates with you. So over time, I've come to realize it is actually my life that is a spiritual practice. So as much as possible, I try to remain compassionate, loving, awake, present, and conscious in spite of myself and in spite of the inherent suffering in life. And the universe and all her graciousness and generosity last year presented me with a gift. I met a wonderful man and we fell deeply in love. So that's wonderful. So now I see my relationship and all relationships as spiritual practice. So my partner and I are working intently on not recreating patterns of past relationships in our present one. And we've both experienced some painful and failed relationships and have had to do a significant amount of work to heal and forgive ourselves and others. And last week we were having a conversation and my partner was expressing some really deep emotions of grief and disappointment and loss around something, an issue he was having. And as I listened, I became really quiet and withdrawn as I felt this kind of fear and low-level panic come up in my body. And I observed the irresistible urge to jump in and fix it. Like I just wanted to get rid of his emotions. I wanted to make them go away. And being empathic, when you deeply feel the feelings of others, it's really hard to resist. Because when you love someone, you want to alleviate their suffering. So I managed to stay quiet, yay, despite this intense internal reaction, as I watched ghosts of past relationships rise up into the space. My biological mother was very depressed and mentally ill, and as a young child, I knew if she was upset, something bad was going to happen. And past marriages with depressed, angry men with substance abuse issues, getting caught in a cycle of codependency and rescuing, which over years becomes resentment and anger and being lost to each other. So all these ghosts are in your cellular memory and their residue, and they become part of our spiritual work. So what did I do? First, I literally sat on it in meditation. Then I said some passionate prayers. Then I wrote about it in my journal. And then I went for a really long walk in the beautiful gray sky of spring air that was fragrant between rain and was restored in nature. So this helped me to bear witness to my own experience and my partner's with compassion and without judgment, and to create more intimacy instead of distance. So thank God I got through that one. So sometimes little things in relationships build up over time and become big things and become irreconcilable. So there's a chasm that can't be crossed. So the spiritual work is to accept each other, our whole nature, the light and the dark, the good and the bad, exactly as we are, and love all of it. And use the tools of spiritual practice like meditation and prayer so that you can stay with love and you can know that the messy, unfinished business of life is always going to come up and arise. So as Reverend Janet used to say, first you learn to pray, then you pray all the time, and then you become a prayer. And so when this happens, our relationships to ourselves, our loved ones, others, our enemies, and our beautiful earth become a prayer. They're healed. They're a spiritual practice of love. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to sing a song that I wrote with one of the artists that will be with us this afternoon, Austin Willisey, and it's called Better Days Are Gonna Come. And it's on the theme of today, No Mud, No Lotus. You'll hear some of the lyrics go with that. So I'm going to be asking you to sing along as usual. And Astra already knows the parts, so she's going to help us out. I've been face down in the dust, all my tears know better days are gonna come. And when darkness rises up, give me the strength I need to trust and know that the light at the end of the tunnel gonna shine on me. Oh, shine on. Oh, shine on me. Oh, shine on. Shine on me. I know the light at the end of the tunnel gonna shine on me. I've been living in a world of hurt. Gotta remember beauty blooms from the dirt. And I know that better days are gonna come. And I know the odds are stacked, but I'm never turning back. 'Cause I know the light at the end of the tunnel gonna shine on me. So sing with me on this. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine on, shine on. Shine on me. I know the light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, I know the light at the end of the tunnel. I know that light at the end of the tunnel gonna shine on me. Better days are gonna come. Better days are gonna come. Better days are gonna come. Oh, yes, they will. Oh, yes, they will. I know better days are gonna come. Let me hear you sing it. Better days are gonna come. And if you hear a harmony, better days are gonna come. Oh, yes, they will. Yes, they will. I know better days are gonna come. Oh, yes, better days are gonna come. Oh, yeah, better days are gonna come. And I know that light at the end of the tunnel. I know the light at the end of the tunnel. I know that light at the end of the tunnel gonna shine on me.
So beautiful, so beautiful. So happy you're here with us today, and I think you get a taste of how wonderful the concert's going to be this afternoon. So I'm also going to reach out to you in the area who are online. Yes, you can get dressed, and yes, you could come on down at 2:00. So just encouraging you to do that, because I think it'll be a beautiful concert. You already know Astor's voice. Now you know Patricia's, and now we'll add Austin's as well. So that'll be wonderful. So looking forward to that. So yes, as you've heard other people talk about, today's topic is about no mud, no lotus. So it's a Buddhist phrase that's talking about the sacredness of the lotus blossom, that it can only bloom when there's mud that's in the swampy pond that's there, and it grows out of that mud and creates this beautiful bloom. In fact, the lotus is a unique flower because it has a protective layer over it, so it can emerge out of the mud and the water and bloom in this pristine way that is symbolic of the way that we can transcend and transform and emerge from that which may seem like yuckiness, you know? So when I had this, usually I like to start my talk with a little joke or some kind. And what's funny about this week is God has a sense of humor too. So when I made our titles, I don't know, months ago. And the courtyard plan was also supposed to be months ago. But our contractor suddenly had an opening this past week. And he said, if I started now, it could be ready for your big event in May. I'm going, okay, let's just do it. But then you come to this Sunday and the title is No Mud, No Lotus, right? There's lots of mud out there. And what I know is the lotus is coming out. I know God has a sense of humor, but I do have another joke for you, just in case. So being St. Patrick's Day on Friday, I heard an Irish joke that I thought was kind of funny that relates to our topic. So there was a professional dressed Irish man who'd had a long day at work, and it was a rainy, cold day, so he thought he'd stop into his local pub to have a drink, have a wee bit of whiskey. And as he was heading into the pub, he saw an older man who was sitting by a pond with a fishing rod. And he goes, that silly old man, and so he came by and just said hi to him. He goes, it's cold and wet. Why don't you come in and have a drink with me? And he goes, I'll do that. So he came in and they were sitting down and having this drink of whiskey and talking. And the professional man said, well, tell me, just kind of humoring a little bit, have you caught anything today? And he goes, aye, you're my 8th one today. So there are opportunities in the puddles, right? In the mud, an opportunity for us to open up to a greater sense of who we are. But sometimes we have to be with the mud, so to speak, to allow ourselves to feel and accept what is. Thich Nhat Hanh was the one I first heard about the phrase, no mud, no lotus. I don't think he started it, but he wrote a book about it and lectured about it, and it's on websites about his work. And what's interesting, the way he describes the lotus as a very sacred flower in Southeast Asia, India and Southeast Asia. And it's just a sacred because it's so beautiful in the way it opens up. And actually every day at night, it closes back up and goes back into the water. And each morning emerges again in its pristine nature. And he describes that as like us who can transcend, be reborn, rejuvenated, renewed, no matter what is going on in our lives. That we have a sense of this life, a sense of this spirit within us that's always there and continues to be. What's interesting about Buddhism is and Hinduism, that the lotus is such a symbol for them. The way that yogis cross their legs in the meditation position is actually for them a symbol of the lotus. So it's called the lotus position. Have you ever heard that before? That's about the lotus flower, and people sit in meditation in this way. And this is us that are willing to be, and some of us don't cross our legs very much anymore, but you could sit in a chair, you could sit however what's comfortable for you, but the idea is to sit and accept that which is and allow that spiritual magnificence that we've been talking about this month to emerge from us. Because spirit is always seeking to express itself in this way, always seeking to open itself up. And as we allow it, we have to be stopped long enough to allow it, if we are, in the mud, as we call it, we have feelings that are uncomfortable. Laura, your beautiful reflection this morning was talking about, your partner, but also other people and the discomfort we feel around people's feelings, and we want to fix it. But guess what? The same thing happens within us. We're uncomfortable with our own feelings, and we want to get busy or get distracted, or possibly substance abuse, or just a distraction from our feelings. When really we need to be in the mud. We just need to plop down in the mud and sit down there and feel what we need to feel. And then allow Spirit to come through us and allow this blooming to happen in this way. In this perfection, that Spirit is always perfection. So I have 3 ideas about this: no mud, no lotus. And the first one is that we have the mud, right? We have plenty of mud around right now with all the rain we've had, but where's the lotus? Sometimes it seems like a long time before that flower is emerging. Like we keep affirming every week, we say, something wonderful is happening through us right now. Like, where is that? I'm not experiencing it. I'm just experiencing the mud. Continue to be in that patience and continue to know, continue to trust that which comes through. There's a great story about a young girl named Lily who lived in Southeast Asia, and there was so much rain in her village, and they lived in a hut where the floor was dirt, so they weren't sure if they might be flooded out. But a lotus bloomed randomly just in a little puddle right outside their house. And this is the message to them that Spirit, the universal presence, is always there. Some lotus seeds can last as long as 1,000 years in mud, that once they're wet, they bloom. And that's us too, that it continues to bloom. So I'd like to, we didn't tell about when we do it, but I'd like to invite Patricia up here. So she has this true life story about blooming when there's mud. So I just want you just to go ahead and share the story. So it was like 2004?
It was exactly 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I didn't write my first song until I had a cancer diagnosis in 2003. And I had been a singer, but always singing other people's songs, jazz, blues, whatever it was. And it had been this kind of thing in the back of my mind that I always wanted to do. I call it my bucket list. And when I was going through the surgery and the chemo and all of that, I had a conversation, a life-changing conversation with a friend who was like, okay, so what are you going to do with this, this big disruption in your life? Are you just going to go back? Because I was a lawyer. You're just going to go back to the corporate world and, do your lawyer thing or what? And I said, well, I gave him this long list of courses I wanted to take. I'm going to take music theory, and I'm going to take piano lessons, and because I didn't know anything. I thought in order to be a songwriter that you had to be like an amazing instrumentalist, and you had to know how to score, like actually write the notes out on music paper. And I didn't know how to do any of that. And he says, you have a voice, you have something to say. You can just come over to my house, because he was a great piano player. Sing your songs a cappella, and I will help you hear, I'll help you figure out what the chords are that you're hearing in your head. And he has no recollection of this. This is the amazing thing about this story, is that this was a life-changing conversation for me.
Right.
And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, just to interrupt, that's
Yeah.
often when an angel comes in your life.
Yes.
They're channeling and they don't remember it. But
Yeah. So 20 years later, I played the piano, the guitar. I actually got my master's in music. So I did go back and take all those courses, but I didn't wait until I had all that, right? Yeah. He just gave me the permission that I needed to give to myself, you know. Like you can start wherever you are. And if there's something in your heart that you really want to do, don't wait until you have a cancer diagnosis or, you know, some other, I mean, that was the sort of silver lining for me of that. But I had many, many, many taps on the shoulder by the universe telling me that this was my calling.
Right.
And I did not listen until I had like the baseball bat hitting me on the top of my head. You know, it was like major. And then I was like, okay, you know, and I was able to get off the track that I was on and onto the track that I had wanted to be my whole life, you know, and I had taken this massive detour. And not that I'm unhappy that I did it, because being a lawyer and having that training has given me a level of confidence in business and, you know, and other things. And I think it's one of the keys, one of the reasons that I've been able to license music to TV shows and that sort of thing. Because I have
thought about that. That's
I
great.
have a level of just, you know, comfortability. I'm comfortable around things like that. So it doesn't, you know, if somebody sends me a license, I can read it and understand what it means, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great story.
So,
thank you, Patricia. So
you want me to come back up later to do this?
later.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. What I also love about that is when we have a disruption, we definitely can go back to the comfortable, or we can choose to let that disruption create something new in us. So what a wonderful story, and what truth we have in that, because it's allowing this trust to come back to be the truth of who we are. And I also know that as we allow Spirit to come to us in our magnificence, there are ways that we can slow this blooming and ways we can show this blooming. So it's a beautiful, just allowing this blooming to happen, allowing the truth of who we are, and notice that which gets in the way of this opening of our lives. I know that one thing that gets in the way is our expectations of things, or lack of awareness, or not paying attention, or being concerned that appearances, or that, you know, things aren't right. Just allowing yourself to be present where you are is the most important thing. I know that I have struggled with my disappointment in the last weekend because I was watching the NCAA basketball tournament. If you watch that, that's one reason to get it. But I also love what Masaru Emoto said, that if you feel lost, disappointed, hesitant, or weak, return to yourself, to who you are here and now. And when you get there, you'll discover yourself like a lotus flower in full bloom, even in a muddy pond, beautiful and strong. So it's about noticing where you are, noticing if you're telling yourself a story that may not be true. Brene Brown talks about, let me get her quote, that the most powerful stories may be the ones we tell ourselves, but be careful, beware, they're usually fiction. She has a great story about how she was, her and her husband lived busy lives, her as an author and speaker, and he's a pediatrician, and they had a super busy day. Their kids were kind of off a little bit in different reasons. And toward the end of the day, she was home and working on some things, and her husband came into the kitchen. He opened the fridge and goes, "Oh, there's no food, not even lunch meat." And she automatically heard something in her head about it's her fault, that she was too busy and not doing things around the household. And she said, "Well, you could do shopping too, you know." And he goes, I often do shopping. I was just looking in here and I was hungry." And then she realized the story she was telling herself. So she started another conversation, a different conversation, even though in the same moment, a different perspective. And it's a phrase that she uses often and recommends other people use. The story I was telling myself was that it was my fault, that I was to blame and I was shaming myself. And he said, no, I wanted to go shopping yesterday and ran out of time and I was just hungry. That's all it is. Had nothing to do with you, actually. But we make it about ourselves sometimes. So the story we tell ourselves, just to be clear in our communication about that. And what we know is that we can bloom where we are planted. Wherever we are, we can bloom, no matter what that is or how that is or who that is and where we are at. Last night, Michelle and I and her mom, Ursula, went to go see Tyler Henry. How many people know who Tyler Henry is? Not many people. Okay. He is a person who has a Netflix special. He's a crossing over person. He's a medium. So he talks to people on the other side. And it was fascinating. He read several people in the group of 2,000-3,000 people that were there in that auditorium. But about 10 people. But here's what I got out of it that was really powerful. He affirmed a lot of things we talk about at the center. And it was good to hear somebody who's done thousands of readings talking to loved ones of people that have passed over. And by the way, I'm skeptical, not about that you can talk to people that have crossed over, but that people who call themselves mediums are really mediums. I just, he is real. He was powerful, and I've seen his television shows, but that doesn't mean I've seen him live, really. So he talked about how universal presence is always coming through, like a radio station. Now, your radio may be broken. It may not be tuned to the right station, but the frequency, the signal is always coming through. We just need to be open and find that. And he also talked about the afterlife, that because people were asking, was there heaven or hell? And he goes, I don't know. What I know is people go to a better place and that they have an eternal life, and they do go through, he believes, some kind of review process, which I felt intuitively too. We don't know what that means, but you have a way of reviewing your life. And he says that his sense is that on the other side of that, you're like a drop of water and goes into an ocean of consciousness. And that your slate has been wiped clean, though. So you don't hold any regrets. You don't hold any hardened thoughts about people. So we know if you've had somebody crossed over that they're only sending love back. And they're holding you in that presence. That if you have a loved one that died in a tragic way, or before you expected it to happen, or you didn't get a chance to say goodbye, or even if there was all that, but there was a lot of emotions around it, know that they are in a beautiful place, a better place, one that that they're just able to be loved right where they are. And he said their souls, what's interesting, they continue to grow. Even if a very young child or an adult, they continue to progress and be conscious and open up to new expressions within that next life they live, this next expression. And he said they during this life of review, they're not judged, that they just find understanding and peace right where they are. So this is a beautiful thought as we are sometimes in the mud, that we are sometimes stuck in the mud. But even in the mud, we can experience this life that is spirit itself, that the universal that is sending this radio signal to us to bloom right where we are. And we know this is the truth of who we are and the truth of what spirit is within us opening up. Let us go to prayer. So we just breathe into this moment and know right where we are is right where we are. We don't need to be anywhere else. There's no better pond. And we know that we are connected with spirit in all ways. That we are one with all of life. And in the mud and in the air and in that which is life, there's all that we need to grow and bloom and be. So we know that Spirit is this truth in us that is blooming and creating and allowing a greater sense of life, a greater peace. And that we are experiencing this as we allow Spirit to be this truth in us. And we know that Spirit is this, is the light, the way, the knowing within us. And for this, I'm grateful today as I release it into the law, knowing it is so. And so it is. All right.
Let me get myself together here. I was rubble on the ground, skyscraper torn down, once so tall and strong. Then my everything was gone, struggling to breathe. It was hard to believe that I could ever turn the page, that I would ever find my way. But even though I was lost and nothing felt right, wouldn't change one line in the book of my life. Though day after day was a never-ending night, wouldn't change one line in the book of my life. In the middle of disaster, when it felt like ever after, I just couldn't understand how there could be a greater plan. But when the earth was all done shaking, I suddenly awakened and got up off the floor, so much stronger than before. I won't curse the darkness, it taught me how to fight. Wouldn't change one line in the book of my life. I found a strength inside, I'm holding to it tight. Wouldn't change one line in the book of my life. Ooh, the beauty and the mess. Ooh, I have no regrets. Ooh, I'm not done learning yet. The future is wide open. My story's end is yet unspoken. And though the past has left its marks, I will never hide my scars. They remind me where I've been. And I'd live through every page again, 'cause it's the dark nights I've been through that help me see this truth. Without the darkness, I couldn't see the light. Wouldn't change one line in the book of my life. Every moment from the lows up to the heights. Wouldn't change one line in the book of my life. Wouldn't change one line in the book of my life.
Thank you so much. I think it's safe to say that anytime you're in Northern California, you're welcome to be here. So been a delight to have you here. So this is a time in our service when we invite you to be part of the law of circulation, knowing that that which you give comes back to you tenfold. So if I could have the ushers come forward. We appreciate all the different ways that you donate, including our online choices, our texting, mailing in checks, being part of bill pay, or if you give here at the center. We appreciate all these ways of supporting our vision and mission. So if you'll take your hand and bring it to your heart and hold in your mind and your heart that which you're giving, that which you're offering in love and circulation, and repeat with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is.
For every ray of sun falls upon my skin, every midnight sky I find my solace in. I am grateful even for the storm that rages through the night and drenches me in rain. As I'm reaching for the light, I am grateful. I'm alive and breathing. I am thankful. I have love within me. I am grateful for gifts disguised as heartaches. I am thankful. Oh, I am grateful. So grateful.
Just a reminder, please come back at 2:00. Well, let's fill up the house and bring some joy to our lives today. I'd like to honor anybody who might be here for the first time. If you're here for the first time, you're willing to raise your hand. We have a gift for you, and we'd like to acknowledge you. Obviously, Patricia's here for the first time. Anybody else? You don't need it, but go ahead. We appreciate everybody, and anybody who might be online for the first time, we also welcome you, and also our continuing attendees, both in person and online. Thank you. We have an affirmation today for all the new people and everybody here. So we just say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. We do have coffee underneath the tents, as well as signups for anything. If you're interested in Laura's study group, please let her know. And please come back for the concert at 2. And so now we'll stand for the congregational affirmation and our closing song. Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I'm led by Spirit. I'm guided by wisdom.
Guided by wisdom.
I'm protected by love. I'm here to be a blessing.
Here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
I'm so grateful.
And so it
And
is.
so it is. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surrounds us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
Let's just allow the Spirit of truth to come through us and allow us to bloom. And so it is. Have a great
So it
Sunday.
is.
Hey, Linda. Good.
And I'm finishing my practice.
Flash of color in the dark, an empty echoes of the street, starting from a seed of hope, blowing in the wind. You put down roots and broken through the pavement like it's paper thin. When you go against the crowd, they try to cut you down. You cannot be broken. You're rising from the ground. Resilient, stronger than you know. You're brilliant. When you let your colors show, you'll shine flower. You won't be down below. Resilient, you're brilliant, you're strong. A lone voice in the desert, in 1,000 miles of heat. Some days you wonder how you're standing on your feet. When you feel you're growing weak, no one hears your cries. Remember, you are here on earth to bloom and to inspire. You won't bow down to the crowd when they try to cut you down. You will not be broken. You're rising from the ground. Resilient, stronger than you know. You're brilliant. When you let your colors show, you won't be down below. Resilient, you're brilliant, you're strong. Show me how, when I'm down, I can get back up again and again.